I freaking hate the trope of the mean girl and, you know, girls being catty and girls not being able to get along in the workplace. Like, ew, gross. Hello, patriarchy. However, there is something to be said about mean girls, women that are super insecure, that are threatened by you and your light and your talent and your intelligence, and they will try to humble you, especially in the workplace. So the more we talk about this, the more the good-hearted girls out there, the truly pretty from the inside out women can understand when it's happening to you, because I know I didn't understand it when it was happening to me. I got a job as a teacher, which, if you know, you know, this is so prevalent in the teaching field. It is quite literally the perfect ground or stage for this kind of mean girl dramatics. I got a job as a teacher. I was newly divorced. It was my first time back in the work field after a really long time of being at home and doing other things. And I got a job with women who, I'm not even trying to be mean here and catty, but they had given up on how they looked for a very long time. They didn't have a lot going for them. I know for a fact from the mouth of a few of them that they were absolute pick-me's. They let men mistreat them. They didn't have success in really any other area of their life other than teaching. They had moved up the teaching ladder at the school I was at, and one of them was my boss. And so I start this new job. I'm all like excited about it. You know, it's in English, which is a subject that I love, and I was highly accredited in this subject, so I actually had more degrees than she did. But I was not holding that over anyone's head. I was not going to work to try to like one up anybody. I just wanted to get to work, enjoy myself, make some money, and have some stability in a very unstable, vulnerable time for me, because I was emotionally going through a lot. I was going through a divorce. And the first day I get there, she's really nice, but she doesn't give me a lot of information. It's her job to train me. She doesn't train me very well at all. She gives me these like video modules to watch, which I don't learn watching a video. I learn with hands-on instruction. I learn with practice, but that was all she gave me. And so she said, if you have any questions, you can totally bring them to me. I'll try to help you with it. So I did. I totally took her up on that. If I had questions about the modules, when I was thrown into an entire full schedule of students and I had never taught before, and I also didn't really understand the culture of the school I was working at, because again, video modules, I just thought I'll learn as I go and I'll have this person to come to if I have questions. Well, that first week I had a lot of questions, and she just briefly answered them for me, didn't take a lot of time training me, helping me. So I just thought, okay, well, she doesn't really owe me anything. I kind of just need to jump into the water and start swimming. That's what I tried to do, not knowing, because I hadn't been in the work field before, that actually it's her job. She's getting paid to train me. So she actually has to answer my questions. She can't just blow me off. But I was just trying to make nice, as people do when they start new jobs. I don't want to offend this manager. She was best friends with like another one of my superiors. So again, this is another thing that happens, especially in the teaching field. There is so much like, well, I'm best friends with her, so you can, they're not professional, although like, you know, it's their job to be. It's all about their best friend and their position of their best friend. So I didn't ever go to like her boss and say, look, I'm not getting trained. And this was the worst part. Every single time that I would go to her after I was thrown into the mix with a full schedule of classes and I was just expected to sink, like swim, not sink. I'm doing my best to wade water and learn this entirely new, you know, occupation, and do it while going through the worst emotional time of my life. If I would make a mistake, and this was like very simple charting mistakes, okay? It's not like I messed up some big financial error or did something, you know, borderline, you know, inappropriate or anything in dealing with students. It was just like literally charting mistakes. She would come in and like yell at me, berate me, say, well, why didn't you ask me about that? This is something you should know how to do, Stephanie. Like, she would treat me like I was a child and literally berate me. And it got so bad that I was scared to ask her questions because she was abusive. And then because I was scared to ask her questions, I would make more mistakes. And then she would use that as opportunities to humiliate me in front of others on group emails with my colleagues. She would again come in and yell at me and make this big production about helping me and directing me in the right places. And it was such a toxic work environment. And I didn't know to speak up about it because I was just trying to keep my job and just honestly survive. I was in total survival, and she took advantage of that. And why did she do that? Because the only thing she had on me, this is how women think. And like, I try to explain this to my husband and he's just like baffled. He does not understand this, but a woman like this doesn't feel good about herself, has nothing going for her, sees a woman like me who's attractive, is intelligent, so she can't say I'm stupid, and I actually had more degrees than her. The only thing she has to one-up me on is the fact that she's my boss. So she is going to remind me of that every single step, every single opportunity that she has. She's going to try to humble me and remind me who is boss, because it's all she has over me. And I mean, if you want to go deep in like a not even economic, but just like a sociological way, you can look at it like we're in the patriarchy. Women have the last vestiges of power. We are disempowered when it compares to the men in our lives, okay? And especially in the job market. So when you are in a situation like this, an environment like this, that's mainly women, because mainly teachers are women, they're going to turn on each other for the last little scraps of power in the patriarchy, which is exactly what this teaching profession was. It was women feeling disempowered out in the world, disempowered with the men that they deal with, disempowered probably in their jobs because women make, 8 cents less than men on the on the average. So they're disempowered in every way, economically, sociologically. And so when they're in this like theater of the academic world, it's like, I'm going to take it out on the woman next to me, especially one who I deem has more power than me, because in our society, in the patriarchy, a woman's beauty, and especially if she's intelligent, add that together, she is a threat, because that is what establishes power in the patriarchy for a woman. So a woman like this, who's my boss, is automatically going to feel disempowered with me in dealing with me out there, especially in coping with what she's dealing with in her everyday life. So she's going to come to work and act out those dramatics on me. And I hate to say that this happens, but it absolutely does. And there's a bigger reason for it. And I talk about it because I truly want to get to a point where as women, we are friends with each other. We give each other benefit of the doubt, especially more than we give it to men, because they have all the privilege and the power. We give other women the benefit of the doubt. We don't play these queen bees and wannabes dramatics in our middle age in a professional environment. There's no reason for that. We should be hyping each other, hoping the best, rooting for each other, and not being gossipy, not being petty, not trying to tear down other women in our groups, looking at things other women are doing and sending it to each other and laughing and pointing. That's so ridiculous. It's gross. And you're being as bad as a patriarchal man when you do that to another woman. And just in the teaching profession, I've just seen this way too much, and we need to call it out and stop it, because the only way that we are going to actually level up in our individual lives and as a female collective is by hyping each other and doing all the things that I mentioned.